Football fans, Gooners, welcome to another edition of the Positively Uncensored Arsenal podcast. I am your host, Shotta, and as always, virtually next door is my expert, my friend, Blackburn George from the Positively Arsenal blog. George, good morning from my side of the world, and I know it's good afternoon on your side. How are you doing, George?
I'm fine, thanks. Good afternoon yourself.
Well, I'll take morning. George, um, any win against Spurs is a good win, but yesterday was a special win. No, and of course, it is mainly because we are in the hunt for the title, and we were playing at their place. George, am I right or am I right?
Well, it was a special win, but it wasn't a special performance.
Yeah.
I thought, I'd have to say, I thought we were lucky. We were lucky with the goals we scored, some of them. We're lucky that they can't defend for toffee. And we're lucky that they can't score from point blank range with an open net. So, we contributed to our own downfall, which wasn't a downfall in the end, but we contributed to our own problems with a horrendous mistake from Raya and then a similarly horrendous mistake from Declan Rice,
yes,
which seems to go unmentioned because you can't criticise Declan these days. I mean, he's got a special status. But apart from maybe the first 10 or 15 minutes in the second half, before Raya gifted them that goal, we played quite well. We were dominating the game in the second half, at the very beginning of the second half. But other than that, Spurs looked a better team. They looked a better team in the first half, and they looked a better team from when we conceded that goal. We did some things good. We played on the counter. We set up a bit different. We set up with Declan Rice and Partey both sitting, so it wasn't our normal lineup. It was more 4-2-1-3 or 4-2-3-1. But other than Havertz, I don't think anybody had a particularly good game. And some of them, Martin Odegaard, squandered possession, made some dreadful passes in the middle of the field, put us in trouble. Thomas Partey was caught napping on the ball several times. Saka played all right, in as much as his dead balls were good, but I just don't think it was a very good performance. A great result, winning away from home, but I do think we were a bit lucky. I think we got away with one yesterday.
George, you are unique in all the observers I've observed that I've read on Twitter. Everyone seems to think it was a great performance, but the stats do not bear this out in terms of the expected goals. And I shared with you earlier the sofa score summary. I wish I could get the banner off. I can get it off, if even for a minute. Just give me a second, George. I hide. Right. But they had a 2.37 expected goals, and we only had 1.08. Now, I don't know the statistics that goes into it, but a lot of people rely on expected goals, and it has not been questioned. But the point I'm making is nobody seems to want to recognize that we gifted them. It's not gifted is not the word. That's a wrong verb. But we surrendered possession. They had 62% and we had 38%. They had more shots, but they were not on target, as you said. We had there were 7 shots off target. You're quite right. What does this mean? going forward, George?
Oh, well, I don't think it means a lot going forward because I think we've got a very, very difficult away game, a London derby, out the way. I think it's the first time in 40 odd years that we've won 2 away derbies on the bounce.
I was not aware of that, but
Yeah, so
yes,
that in itself, says a lot. That you can not play well and dig out a result, as they keep telling us, that's the mark of a good team. But we have to accept that. Well, yesterday, the result clouds your judgment.
yes, yes.
If you didn't see the goals and you just watched the rest of the game, you wouldn't have thought we played very well. I mean, they gifted us a goal. I mean, the first own goal.
Yes.
And then, like I said, we gifted them 2 back. It was like present exchange, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like Christmas, giving each other presents. But I just think that game's out the way. If you look back at the Chelsea game, that was a different class of performance, and I think we'll get back to playing like that. I don't fear Manchester United away, so I think for us, all of a sudden now, we look to have an easier run in than Manchester City. All of a sudden.
Well, I want to talk about that, but talking about our luck, what do you think about the Trossard foul and Kulusevski?
Well, I think that again. I think if they'd have given that as a penalty, we couldn't have argued about it.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, it was minimal touch," but the way he touched his leg,
yes,
he did make him trip himself. And we used to do that at school. Remember, walking behind someone and tapping their ankle, and they'd kick their leg and fall over. Right. And that was just walking. That's not running. The guy was running, and he unintentionally clipped his leg, and he went over. And I think it was a penalty. So yeah, I think we're a bit lucky there.
We're lucky there, yes. And then it turned into a
scored from that. We scored from that.
Yes.
So instead of it being possibly 1 each, it was 2-0.
Yes.
And everything was looking rose. I mean, I tweeted. I know you saw the tweet at half time. Goodness knows what will happen if we start playing well. Because, we're 3-0 up and we hadn't played well at all. Just one of those games that it went our way, and it certainly didn't go their way. And I'm glad it didn't go their way, but, let's not pretend it was some sort of great performance from us and, they got lucky in the second half. They didn't get lucky in the second half at all. They probably got reward for the dominance in the game.
They got reward for putting pressure on the goalkeeper because they put on 2 fresh players, and they were the ones who put pressure on Ray and on defender. And he
wasn't. Let's be honest, he wasn't under any pressure when he passed the ball to
Romero.
Yeah,
he was in 2 minds, George.
But I tell you what, what a good finish from him, bringing it down on his chest and sliding it past him.
Yes.
What the fuck was a central defender doing up in the penalty box anyway?
But he was in the penalty box a lot. I mean,
I know.
And he was the one who missed.
He was incredible. But, I mean, they didn't sit back. They went for it. All right. Well, I think that goal made a huge difference because I think they accepted defeat. We were the better team at the beginning of the second half, and that gave them the encouragement they needed. But even so, looking at the first half, I thought we were very, very fortunate to be 3-0 up. There was no way had we deserved to be 3-0 up at the end of the first half. It wasn't a reflection of the game at all whatsoever in any way. But of course, people don't want to accept that.
That's the observation I was going to make. You're going to make our podcast more popular because you are speaking the truth here. And very bluntly, I was going to tiptoe around it, especially just with the stats. But you know, and I was going to, what I was going to say when I prepared for this pod, I hope we don't get into this rut because we are sitting back, ceding possession, and counterattacking. Now, Bournemouth is not Chelsea. Bournemouth is not Tottenham. They're a mid-table team. And
No, I don't fear that at all.
Yeah.
I think we might do similar at Manchester United.
Yes. Because they will want to come at us being at home.
Yeah, they'll have to come at us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we'll play very similar at Manchester United, but hopefully better. I mean, how many? You're not going to see Martin Odegaard give the ball away, just pass it straight to right in our own half, under no pressure at all.
That was a bad
very
one.
often.
Yeah, but nobody wants to say anything about that, by the way. But
well, again, he's got special dispensation at the moment, Martin, hasn't he? You know, he's untouchable, uncriticisable. There's a few of them like that at the moment, and
George is
good be like that, but it is. And the funny thing is that the ones that we have criticised in the past, I want to say we, I don't mean you and I mean the fan base in general. Kai Havertz, Trossard.
Yes.
They're doing well.
Yes. Well, Trossard didn't have a very good game yesterday, I don't think. But
no, maybe not. But no, who did? Who did? Other than Havertz, who had a good game.
Yes, Kai is living the life. I mean, George, at halftime he was 1 shot, 1 goal, 1 assist. I mean, and I gotta say that he's proved his mettle, and you have been proven right, by the way. I want him, since we're talking about a podcast, because playing as that number 9, playing, that false 9 position, let's call it number 9. But he has something that Gabriel doesn't have. And that is his heading, George. I mean, that second goal.
Yeah, and his hold-up play. And he moves the ball quickly.
That ball to Saka is an exemplary.
Fantastic pass.
Yes.
But he moves the ball quickly. He doesn't dwell on it. He doesn't take any extra touches. And as soon as he plays the ball and moves it on, he's off and moving into space. He's constantly moving. And he absolutely looks a business. But again, I've tweeted today, the criticism of him in the first half of the season wasn't unfounded. It wasn't. Yes. He wasn't playing well in midfield. He was bought for midfield, and it was failing, and it was £65. He went, fucking hell. I mean,
5 million.
I tweeted at the time, we could have had Maddison for £20 million, less than Havertz. That's criminal. Now, it looks like that's a ridiculous statement now. However, if he was still playing in midfield, I'd still rather have fucking Maddison.
Yes.
But he doesn't play in midfield now. He plays up front, and he's doing great. But let's not pretend it was a fucking plan.
Well, I had to repost, say repeat anymore on X. But your tweet this morning, and I also did a short from the last podcast we did, because I see a lot of revisionism about Kai, and I think that you have it right. You said no. I think you're right. Not wrong about him playing in midfield. I don't want to labor the point. I think that we need to give him credit because he has been good.
Oh, absolutely. Huge credit. Huge credit. However, let's say it's worked. It's perfect. It's working perfect in the team. What use is Jesus now?
He didn't even come off the bench. If
No. I mean, he wouldn't come on the bench. I understand that because we weren't chasing a goal.
Right.
I understand.
We brought on 2 defenders.
Yeah.
We brought on two defensive players.
Took Odegaard off and brought on Kiwo.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think that was a reflection of the panic that was ensuing all of us. Fucking hell, it was horrible that last 10 minutes. But
Lord.
still.
God, my heart was racing, John. Bad performance and no performance. Yeah.
Couldn't watch. It was horrible. Yes. It was hiding behind the fingers.
Absolutely. Any gooner, because they had the momentum. You know?
I've taken all the varnish off my wooden floor, shuffling my feet.
I wore out my sofa, squirming. You know, George, the thing that strikes me though is we are relying on our preparation for set pieces. And what do you think of this? Because the Ben White tactic of blocking the goalkeeper and us then going.
He's not bothered him, is he? I mean, he's really not bothered, is he? He just fucking takes a piss all the time. I love him. That fiddling with that goalkeeper's glove yesterday was absolutely classic. You know, he just like shrugged his shoulder when he pulled him about it. Well, what? Funny. But it was about time we'd scored from a corner again. We haven't done it for a few weeks.
Yes, because most teams wised up to us, you know, and they're so we kind of changed it.
They didn't.
Yeah.
And they paid the price. They paid a price for bad defending.
I don't know what Angie's. Well, I don't want to say. You know, I'm an amateur. You and I are amateurs, but I don't know what his preparation was. He didn't. He wasn't as adventurous in the pressing, by the way, and they weren't as susceptible to the long balls. Although Kai caught them out, but that. I think they were up there bickering for the penalty, and that was part of the reason why they were stretched. And they were on the attack, but they weren't prepared for all kind of routine. They
weren't. And I don't know whose fault that is. Is it the players? Is it the manager? Is it the set piece coach? I don't know. I don't care, honestly. Fuck them. But,
yes. So, George, the big concern is we're just 1 point ahead. City didn't play well yesterday, but they played their game and they kept pressing, and then they brought out the big horse and they put the game away. But the one game,
they did, but I tell you what,
yes,
they could have lost that. Their expected goals was lower than Nottingham Forest's yesterday. And,
yes, that's why I said they didn't play well.
If Chris Woods could kick the ball at all, they would have been 2 or 3-0 up. I mean, it's shocking misses. I mean, comical misses. If you saw that in a pub team, you could accept it if it was after a drinking session, not before a drinking session. That's how bad the misses were. It was shocking. But I think they can lose because they looked very beatable yesterday. And I'm optimistic that they can drop points. I think they've got 3 fairly tricky games.
They have two games away. If you look on my graphic here, let me get rid of the banner as usual. But these are horrible fixtures. I think they lost to Fulham earlier in the season, George. Or am I right or wrong? I think they did.
Well, you know, obviously the heavy favourites at home,
yes.
But Fulham away, Spurs away. But even Wolves and West Ham, you know, nothing to lose now.
Yes,
they can go there and have a bit of a go, and that's exactly what Nottingham Forest did yesterday. They had a go at them, and they should have won. They really should, or at very least, they should have gotten something out of the game. So if Nottingham fucking Forest can do it, I'm sure Wolves, Fulham, Spurs, or West Ham can do it. My only concern is if it gets to the last game of the season away at City, West Ham, there's such a negative team sitting back. I think they'll get swamped. Something has to happen before the last game of the season.
Yeah. If I see if I can add this then here, we have an easier run. Well, on paper, easier running. The only big game there is Manchester United at their place. Can you concur or not?
Yeah, Bournemouth played quite well yesterday. They're on quite a good run, actually. That won't be that easy.
Yeah.
And United away is always a difficult game. Everton, yeah, fancy us for that. But so similarly, I think we'll win all three of them.
We should. I mean, I'll be disappointed. Not anything can happen in football. You can drop points in a place. But I think the boys are up for it, George. I think they are up for it. They are, the thing that strikes me, and we must give them credit. Last year we asked, we didn't say it, some of us, but we suggested that they bottled it. But they were inexperienced, they were young, and you can see that they are more seasoned, they are more psychologically ready for what a title run-in entails.
Yeah. I think Arteta is as well.
Yes.
And so yeah, we just got to hope that Manchester City, if we drop points and Manchester City don't, then we've given it a good shot.
Yes.
But we just got to give ourselves that chance that Manchester City will slip up, and hope that it happens. It's not looking likely, I have to say. I mean, they're on the best. They're on the best unbeaten run ever. So
5 games. But George, I'm going to reiterate something I said in previous podcasts. I still don't think they are the same team like last year. Without Gundogan and Mahrez, that's what gives me hope. Because at the end of the day, I don't expect goals from Doku. I would expect goals from Mahrez, for instance. And Bernardo Silva is not a goal scorer like Gundogan. So, Foden has come inside and will add goals. The point I'm making, I don't fear them as much as I would last year. Are you in that same position as me?
Yeah, I don't think they're quite as good. But I still fear them.
Yeah. By the way,
George, we can but hope and give ourselves the best fighting chance. And if we fail, we fail. At least 3 games to go and we're still in it. You'd take that at the beginning of every season, wouldn't you?
I would. By the way, George,
and losing, and like I said again, I've said several times on several platforms, finishing behind this City machine is no shame at all.
Yeah, I've heard you say it, and I agree with you 100%. You said I was gonna make a point about them, and I quite forgot. It will come back to me after the podcast is over. Anyway, George, we are in it. We are fighting. I don't know what more we as fans can ask for. I hope that we don't have another match like the one with Spurs yesterday. That's not good for my ticker.
No.
So George, let's hang there. We play next week Saturday, I think. Bournemouth, and well, let's hope that all goes well. Any final words from you?
No, let's just all hope for the best. We don't have long to wait now.
Yes.
Then we can start speculating about what world-class players we're going to be bringing in over the summer. and we
That's
can all
another issue.
decide who has to be sold and who can't play for Arsenal again.
By the way, George, I just remembered I was just saying that Arteta has a settled 11 or a settled 12. So that is very much in our favor. He's certainly dispensed with the experimentation.
Yeah, and luckily, touch wood, we have no injuries at all whatsoever at the moment. Everybody's fit.
Well, on that note, goodbye, George. Optimism, positivity, all that good stuff. Go Gunners, go. Bye.
Bye.